We're so excited to have you today as we have an amazing guest in the house. We're so honored to be able to welcome Tana Amen. Tana is absolutely one of a kind and beyond amazing. Honestly, Tana, it's been a joy to have known you for almost a decade now, getting to be introduced to you in the beginning of the Daniel Plan days.
Yeah.
Saddleback Church, with the initiation of that incredible experience of almost a decade of really working on, that ministry together. And during that time, I think you just radiated so much enthusiasm, inspiration, and then really practical tips to live by. And it was, of course, the foundation. You added so much to our nutrition program, to the mindset area, but it was much deeper than that. You have an incredible life story. And I want to say, my friend, you are one of the biggest overcomers, I mean, sentimental, that I know.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I'm so proud of you to call you a friend and to be able to have you share today, because it's really, it's so much beyond nutrition. It's really about how we live, how we deal with stress, how we overcome, and ultimately how we thrive. And you have been a model of that. So we welcome you today. And for those that are brand new to Tana Amen, I would love Sean to give a little bit of a formal background of her as we welcome to her on our call today.
So, Tana, I'm going to brag on you for a moment. I need to read this, okay? And I want you to know I wore my USC shirt for you, Fight On, because you're such a fighter. So this is for you, Tana. Tana Amen is the Executive Vice President of the Amen Clinics, a New York Times best-selling author of the Omni Diet, highly respected health and fitness expert, cancer survivor, nationally renowned speaker, and media guest. And may I say, healthcare worker that we are so proud of, and we salute you and applaud you. We love you, Tana. You are amazing, and we're so happy you're with us today. So
thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. And, it's just working with you. Your team has just always been special to me. So this is just amazing. And it's an incredible time to be able to do this in this way. Here we are in a pandemic. And so to have people do something that gives them hope is wonderful. Mm-hmm. Thank you for organizing this.
Yeah, well, thank you. Well, I just thought it would be really fun to start with just asking you, Tana, and you sharing with the group what really led you on the journey to become a warrior for your health, because you use that acronym a lot, that you are a warrior for your health. And then of course we have, you have so many books out, but Tana has the Brain Warrior's Way. So it really is not just being like a participant in your health or somebody, having health as a goal. It's being a warrior for your health. Right. What kind of led you on the journey to take that type of a stance?
I have to admit, it wasn't by choice. So it wasn't my intention to go down the road that I went down, which I think most people watching probably have a life story like that, right? Adversity doesn't discriminate. So I certainly overcame a lot of adversity as a child, grew up very, very poor. And I have a new book coming out, The Relentless Courage of a Scared Child. And it's basically how grit, faith, and perseverance, create a reluctant healer. And I say reluctant because so many of us really want to, if we get out of it, it's like, okay, I'm out. I want to leave all the crazy behind. But unfortunately, God had other plans for me, or fortunately, because when you argue with God, if you win an argument with God, you lose. If you lose an argument with God, you win, right? So I argued with God a lot. And I was like, I'm not doing this. God picked the wrong person. God, you picked the wrong person this time. And I said that over and over. And he kept putting me in the middle of these situations that I didn't want to be in, that I would fight and claw and try to get away from. And how could I know that being in the middle of those situations was, while he was calling me to do something and help other people, the healing was for me. So it's like the help was for them, but the healing was for me. And I couldn't see that. Hindsight's 20/20, but you can't see that when you're in the middle of it. And so resilience is an interesting thing. Resilience, the word resilience means to leap or spring back. But that implies that you've been down. You've been pushed down. You have to be pushed down so you can spring back. And so that's what creates resilience, is adversity. So
to leap or to spring back, and that means you have to have been down.
Yeah.
I mean, if that isn't, we have a saying at Rise that, you know, grace always, and it's not how many times you fall, it's, you know, how many times you get up. But I love this of being able to leap or spring back so we don't have to feel bad when we're down. It's just like, okay, what strategy and what support do I need to get up now?
Exactly. And
Yeah.
you asked me a question like, why did I choose the word warrior? Why did I choose that? So I really teach people to pick a metaphor for their lives. I think metaphors help us visualize and grasp and creates a framework for us to go by. You can pick whatever metaphor works for you that's empowering. But as a child who grew up poor, who grew up with a lot of trauma and drama, I felt helpless. And as a child, you often are helpless. And I didn't even realize I was building resilience, because you don't realize that, you know, as a child and when you're going through something. But there was a point where it got so bad that I thought, I am so weak and I feel like such a victim. And what is the opposite of that? All this was subconscious. I didn't realize, oh, this is resilience. This is post-traumatic growth versus post-traumatic stress. But I didn't know that. And so for me, it was, what can I grasp onto? What can I create in my life that's the opposite of what I am going through? That's the opposite of where I am. Well, warriors, those guys are bad. Those guys are tough, right? If you've ever seen what a Navy SEAL goes through, you know, the biggest, baddest guys, and most of them fail because they can't survive the training. But I thought, if I can grasp that mindset of just being knocked down and getting up and knocked down and getting up and always being prepared and always being aware. And it's part of why I love martial arts so much. So I you know, been practicing martial arts for a long time. I have a black belt in Taekwondo and a second-degree black belt in Kempo. And it's not necessarily because I'm tough, although I do like learning skill. It's because it is a mindset. Because martial arts gives you a mindset to never give up. You never quit. And so that's where the warrior mindset came from for me.
Wow, I love that.
Okay. So
That's great. Okay, I'm not going to dive way into this. I was going to ask you at the end, but because you say the warrior mindset and everything came from mindset, we have been in the middle of a 10-day jumpstart. We're doing a 10-day detox similar to your 14-day brain boost. And we're basing it on the principles of Mark Hyman, and we're adding in some special superfood selections with Chef Jenny Ross.
Wonderful.
In the middle of that, our mindset tool that we're using is the metaphor from Dr. Amen from Killing the Ants. And we're using the 4 questions from Byron Katie. And we don't need to dive way deep in it, but I would love to just hear maybe a touch point on your experience with how those 4 questions really helped you to have a really clear mindset.
So the 4 questions are super simple. I won't go deep into them, but is it true? Can I absolutely know that it's true? How does the thought make me feel when I think the negative thought? Who would I be without that negative thought? And then you turn the thought around to its opposite. Okay, so without going too deep into it, this isn't fair. A lot of people have that thought right now. This isn't fair. I've been hearing that a lot. We've got 3 kids in the house. This isn't fair. So is that true? Is it absolutely true? Can I know that that's true? Well, I can't know more than God that it's true, that this isn't fair, that this is happening, or that I'm stuck in the house. I can't know that, right? Maybe this is, who knows? You can go on this philosophical journey with that, but I can't know more than God that this is not fair, okay? But how do I feel when I have the thought? I feel helpless, hopeless. I feel trapped. I feel angry. And that is the epitome of a victim right there, which for me is just completely the opposite of how I want to feel. But that's how I feel. I feel like a victim. When you think it's not fair, you lose your power. So who would you be? Oh, and there's a sub part to that. How do I treat others and myself when I have that thought? Well, if you're angry and you're lashing out and you're a victim, you tend to disconnect. For me, I tend to disconnect, push back on people, be irritable. And so it affects your relationships. You don't treat yourself kindly. You don't treat other people kindly. And so who would you be without the thought? I would be free, right? I would be free. I would be peaceful. And those are really the 2 things we hear people say a lot. I would be free. I would be peaceful if I didn't have this negative thought, if I couldn't think it. And the opposite of it's not fair, well, it is fair. Okay? I don't know. Maybe it is. Or maybe there's a reason that I'm going through this. Maybe life isn't fair. It's not fair that babies die. It's not fair that I got cancer at 23. There's a lot of things that aren't fair. So in our house, the thing that I use to counter it's not fair is it's like, no one promised you life was going to be fair. Fair is a place with bad food and farm animals. Why is the world a better place? Because you breathe. Why is the world better? Because God put you on the planet. What are you doing to make it better? because that immediately puts you into a position of power. So like, what am I doing versus what is happening to me? And so that's just an example of how you can use that to turn things around pretty quickly.
Mhm.
And I really like that.
That's good. I've learned a lot from that from both you and Daniel along the way. And just, I felt like those 3 magical words, is it true?
Is it
Are
true?
really transformable.
It takes work, it takes practice, but once you've done it long enough, you immediately jump to the opposite. Is it true? What's the opposite of this thought I'm thinking, this dumb thought I'm thinking? You know, that person is mean. Well, I'm mean. Yeah, that's true sometimes. It just cracks the thought, and you all of a sudden can begin to move forward. So it doesn't
Nice.
paralyze you.
Okay.